So with week one in the books, I would say excitement's definitely building. Honestly, really exciting to be able to finally start to see under the hood. It's been a long couple weeks waiting for things to get going, and after the first call, one of the things that was super eye-opening was the whole basically identifying groups of people that you can kind of like fish in, farm in. Coming from a marketing background, it's always been on my mind to just go where the people are and kind of meet them where they're at. And so I really like the philosophy of going to kind of like tertiary businesses and identifying people and kind of exposing them and opening their eyes to your product. I thought that was pretty cool, and definitely a path of least resistance and less playing in the same pond that other people are. So week two, sales ascenders, honestly, some pretty good stuff. The copy, I'll admit, I always had to step outside of myself. So I had my lead copywriter, one of my chief marketers on our team, attend the call as well. And I'll admit I was cautiously optimistic, just because we've spent tens of thousands of dollars on different types of copywriting courses, to make sure that we're sharp at our craft. And I was truly impressed with the information that Sean gave us. The meta biases was a huge eye opener. And I'm a firm believer in, communication is one of those things where the second you think that you're the best at it, that it's going really well, that it's a complete breakdown. So because of that, we were able to kind of go through some of our messaging and really start to craft what the different journeys are. For us, we've got a few different sections of people that we need to nurture and push through the process. And so the copy advice and tips that Sean gave was really eye-opening, and is going to help set us on the right way.
I love just the depth of knowledge that goes into this, because you give information, but then the conversation turns to how can you execute? How are you going to execute? And, I think that's something that's missing with a lot of masterminds is it's a lot of just chest puffing and this is what I have accomplished and this is how good I am. And people teach really great systems, but the action steps, the level in which you guys go to make it so easy to just implement what it is that you're teaching, I truly think is incredible. And I can't, every week I am impressed. I go into it, with the understanding, or at least somewhat of a preconceived notion that I'm going to learn something that I already know. And I learn a lot of new things, but you take things that, I may have learned before and you put a different spin on them and allow me to turn around and implement in ways that I haven't before.
So week 4 is a good one to being able to build off of. Obviously going over tab 1 or tab 2 last week and tab 1 this week, going over the messaging sequence, the follow-up, really kind of putting some context into what it is that's going on. For us, for our business, I would say that the biggest thing is, I think that what's confusing some people is that the system is so simple that they try to overcomplicate it because it's so simple, when in reality, I know the conversations that I've had with my team are no need to engage in too much conversation. The whole point is to be able to seamlessly get them from point A to point B and not get off track.
I love when we talk sales conversations and things like that. Our organization, we teach sales, and I always love hearing other people's perspective, and that you're in a good group when you talk about the way that it's broken down and the conversation and how to frame it. It's the information that you guys gave was really, really good. All too often people really overcomplicate it. They word vomit. We talk about the German Shepherd effect. Instead of asking enough questions, they're more too concerned with telling everybody about how you're going to fix their problem and everything about you. So taking a more consultative approach is always a really good one, and getting people to that spot. And it's good training information for our team, since some of the people that are going to be executing it and getting it to that spot aren't necessarily the most skilled in sales. So it's always just good information, as we're implementing things and rolling things out. We're several hundred conversations deep, and really working them through that system. Right now with how we're implementing things, we haven't gotten them to a sales conversation just because we're pushing them in a different direction. So the talk tracks have been absolutely fantastic. We're starting to implement a new phase now to where our model is we're going to be pushing them to that sales call, and just making sure that we get enough information to have that. So all in all, it's good stuff. I'm a huge fan of what we've been learning, and I know my team has always been really excited to hear what we have to report back. And this last week was much the same. I liked the setup of the sales calls. So for us, we have our 5 steps to the conversation. So I loved the way that you guys lay things out. And admittedly, one of the things that I feel that we could learn, or at least get better at, is really setting an agenda. Our sales conversation and the way that we have it, we do a lot of probing questions where we get to know the person that we're talking to, but it becomes long-winded. That's all fun and well, and you've got to make sure that you're asking the right questions and doing your due diligence when you're talking to someone, but letting a conversation get too long, you can sometimes miss the opportunity and give them a chance to talk themselves into a follow-up conversation, give them too much information so they have to go back and digest. All in all, I really liked the information that you gave, because it creates a smooth start to finish. And one of the things that you guys have mastered truthfully with the system that you've created is be able to take a high volume of sales calls and be able to close them. So it's undeniable that the system that you use works, and there are a lot of things that you guys covered that will be definitely something that we implement.
Week 7, knowing our numbers. This is one that hits kind of in the feels, because I would say of all of the areas that we need to kind of get better on, it would definitely be knowing our numbers. So there are certain KPIs that we track, but I don't necessarily think that we live and die by them the way that we should, especially when it comes to projecting things. I would say a common piece of feedback that I'm continually giving to my team is that all too often they go off of a gut feeling, and without no real data to back it up. I really like how you guys break it down in terms of going through the tracker step by step, but then really just putting into perspective kind of what your actions are yielding, because then there's no, depending on which areas you're strong in, you can decide whether or not you need to dial back, or what link in the chain is broken. Wow, week 8. What a sobering reminder of how we can always stand to get better. Looking at the core tracker and a follow-up, it's one of those, like the painter's house is always the last to get painted, all those crazy analogies. And the one thing that was really sobering is the follow-up. So like with our investment business, we follow up like no other. We have a triple ripple process. And just to kind of even validate exactly what they're talking about, our average time from when the lead goes into the system and when we get a sale is about 3 weeks. Well, we have what's called the triple ripple process. So that 3 weeks, contact them 3 times in 1 week, contact them once a week. So right around that 5th point of contact is when we start to see a high volume of our contracts go through. And the area where we fail is with our coaching, is we do not have the same sort of follow-up system, same sort of follow-up process. And, it's, I'm still kind of in disbelief after watching this week, because it's just, you constantly have to be reminded of that. You might be functioning so high in one area of your business that you take another for granted. And this is just a really great reminder. I love how granular this got with the VAs. And one of the things that I love so much about this program is that it's laterally applicable, in that you can use this same process with regular hires.
as well as VAs. You know, we're fortunate to be very tapped into just different communities of VAs. So I've never personally used a tool like FreeUp, but I love, more importantly, of just how you guys simplify the hiring process, of making sure that you're very explicit in what it is that you're looking for, talking about the roles. And I love how you guys really just make it a point to just say, make sure you do checks on all of this, and you know, with the assessments, just to make sure that they're the right fit. You know, the thing that I love most about what you guys talk about is it's step by step and it's clear and concise, because if you get disorganized at all throughout the process, you really run the risk of, you know, losing out on good talent and just really mucking up your whole process.